this video, we are going to talk about economic goals and what a society really does value. We talked about the 3 key economic questions. So we want to see what it is that a society is going to look to and prioritize when answering those questions. With every choice and with every part of how we answer these questions, there are going to be challenges that arise. And an economic system and societies really have to kind of approach these challenges by looking at what do they value most. And there are key economic values to kind of look at a society and see what they have prioritized. So you have first, economic efficiency. So because they're scarce and resources are not always available, how a society tries to maximize what they can produce is looking at, are they really wanting to reach maximum efficiency in their society? So are they accurately assessing what the people want and need, and are they meeting those needs? Is there a lot of waste because they produce something that nobody wants and needs? Or is there people left without? Economic freedom is another really important goal. So this chart or picture is basically, there is an organization that basically evaluates the economic freedom around the world. The U.S. is considered one of the most free countries in the world economically, and we kind of change here and there. We are not the freest economic system, and we'll discuss that a little bit more when we discuss free markets and when we discuss the American free enterprise system. But as you can see, not every country really has the opportunity to make their own choices. There are some with limitations, and there are some economic societies that do not put this as a priority because they prefer better of meeting the people's needs. Another really important value is economic security, especially in emergencies and national emergencies and times like this. The fact that the government is providing stimulus or unemployment insurance or loans to small businesses, those are things that we're putting in place to meet the needs of this economic insecure time and emergency. So our value right now might be a high economic security. Economic equity is meaning that fairness is different. Some societies value this very high. Some societies don't put this as a top priority within their economic system. How we divide the pie is a really important concept. So should everyone get the same share? Should everyone's consumption be dependent on how much they produce? So basically what they put in is how much they get out? Or should they be able to provide, even for the people who are unwilling or unable to produce? So basically, no matter what your choice is, even if you aren't able to put in an equal share, you're distributed an equal share. Economic growth. You have a nation's economy must grow, especially as its population grows. As more people are inhabiting a nation, then their production level needs to go higher, as well as their standard of living. And those are defined as the economic prosperity. So a standard of living is defined equals, you have income minus cost of living, and then basically you should have enough to fulfill it. A poor standard of living means that your income to cost of living ratio is not valid. You cannot make a living wage. So having a country that can keep up with the increased cost of living is creating a more economic prosperous nation. Innovation is important to economic growth, bringing new technology, bringing new ideas to the table, bringing new resources or ways to utilize resources. All of this is going to maximize efficiency and help a country produce more. So a big thing is, if a country really does and a society values this growth, they're going to put more emphasis on funding technological growth. So that means that they're going to put their money where their mouth is. You know, if you want better production methods, then you're going to give grants to companies that are producing better robotic equipment for production. You're going to give grants to those trying to improve technology that would help create more access to individuals and help basically raise the standard of living and the efficiency of the government. If a government doesn't really prioritize that, then they're going to put that money somewhere else, because you can't do everything. As you saw, a lot of those goals kind of intertwined, but they also can butt heads, and especially change depending on how the nature of the current events kind of goes. So you might have other values that start to take priority within a society: environmental protection, making sure that there's full employment and all eligible people who can work are working, protecting specifically national industries or within our things produced within our borders rather than importing from other countries. So, valuing exports over imports. And sometimes with these values in conflict, it creates more of a clash and a debate on what should be prioritized and what should be put aside. Remember, there always has to be a trade-off. You cannot reach 100% of every goal every time. So it creates that conflict. It creates that need to prioritize what is most important. So there is a lot of different economic systems. I'm going to talk about traditional in just a second, but you have command, which will be one of the videos we look over. You have free market, and you have ones that combine both concepts. The original and very what kind of has an origins with this word, traditional, are economies that still exist in the world today that function with a very traditional, very minimalized concept, and their values are very centered in meeting the needs of just their people. So they rely on habit, custom, or ritual to answer the three economic questions. They're usually found in very small communities that stay small, close, and secluded. All of the people within the society will work to support everybody in the entire community. It's that idea, and the phrase comes from, it takes a village. Well, because everybody in the village is helping everybody else. Agriculture and hunting are important, so they rely heavily on the natural resources and utilizing them, but for specifically just for the needs of their community. And they really do focus on minimizing waste, because the natural resources are so scarce and they're so important to them, they won't waste them and use everything. Whereas it sounds great, there are some setbacks and reasons why people have moved away from the traditional economic values. And that is because there's very few mechanisms set in place to deal with disaster, and it is a little bit harder to recover from certain natural disasters or things that happen. But that's one of the lower ones, because they just band together and really try to overcome, but it is difficult. They don't have an access to a wide range of goods and services because they rely heavily on what their community can produce. And they really do lack modern conveniences. It's not really an idea of, let me just toss it in the microwave, or let me, whatever, these appliances are things that we're really useful to in our more modernized economy. And that is because of the idea of, if they cannot produce it within their social structure, then it is not needed. And those things would be produced elsewhere and have to be imported into their communities. So with this idea of what are the three economic questions, the who, what, and what, how, and for whom, when a country really sets the priority of their value of their society, then it starts to figure out how they answer them. So in the next videos, we're going to look at different economic systems and look at what are the priorities and how is that economic system answering the three basic questions. So make sure to stay tuned.